Good evening, I'm Adrian Ghobrial. We're live on Mallory Crescent in Leaside, where forensic crews are working this hour as they try and unearth remains and clues of victims as the investigation into alleged serial killer Bruce McArthur continues. Now, we'll have more on the work being done in the backyard of the home behind me shortly, but first, an update from Toronto Police Homicide. Homicide confirmed they are searching the basement of this Leaside property and that they are expecting more arrests in the days to come. They're looking into leads not just here in Toronto, but from overseas as well. We can also confirm the jugs of fuel being brought to the rear of this Leaside property in recent days have largely been for heaters, which were being used to thaw the frozen ground. Forensic anthropologists are on scene, and today we spoke at length with one who has worked on several large homicide cases about the challenges crews are facing this hour.
When you actually process a scene like this, it is in fact a form of archaeology, if you will. It's controlled destruction. So by doing that, you have to be sure that you are excavating the remains properly. You now have the time of year that you do with frozen ground. Digging in frozen soil, it's very much like concrete, and you've got to thaw it out in order to be effective, because you can destroy evidence if you're not doing it properly.
We excavate successfully, we get the body parts out of the ground, but our knowledge is these are dismembered body parts of multiple different individuals. What is the challenge at that point? We
start to identify which bones from the human body we have present. So do we have a kneecap, a patella? Do we have two of those from the left side? If we do, then we've got at least two people represented by the remains. And then they're going to be doing an analysis in order to determine the age of death of the individual from the skeletal remains. There's a variety of ways to do that by looking at the bones, and also the sex of the individual.
Dr. Fairgrieve adds that once body parts are in hand, forensics will try and create human biographies as they try and piece fragmented remains together and link them to one individual, similar to what crews have to do following a fatal plane crash. Homicide detectives also confirming they've received multiple tips from people who used to live in Toronto, some people who still live in this city, as well as people from other countries who believe they may have met McArthur while visiting our city. Today I spoke with one man from Brazil online who asked we not use his name. He claims he is sure McArthur reached out to him on a gay dating app when he visited Toronto in November of 2017. He claims the alleged conversation quickly turned violent and sketchy. In part, he says, I had the username Brazilian Tourist. He asked me what I was doing in Toronto, if my family was traveling with me, or if I was by myself, if I was alone at the apartment, if I had a car. And then he engaged in a very violent sexual talk. He said he was looking for a guy to be his bee. He said he liked to be dominant, and he wanted someone that was into violent sex. He wanted to spank really hard until you cry and beg me to stop. He also asked me if I was into asphyxiation. If I could join him and stay at his place for the night, he would pick me up at my location when I said I didn't have a car. Now, to be clear, those claims are just allegations. They've yet to be proven. Back here at Mallory Crescent, police say it could be weeks before they're done in the backyard behind me. And there's 30 other locations, and it could be months before they're wrapped up their forensic investigation there. Police have asked we not broadcast any of those properties as they try and encourage the public to come forward if Bruce McArthur did work at their house or they know someone's home who he may have done work at.